The Public Safety Committee will now start and go into session. Mr. Clerk, could you call the roll?
Vice Chairman Boyd. Present. Alderwoman Davis.
Present.
Alderman Zillow.
Here.
Alderman Arnowitz.
Here.
Alderman Ogilvy. Chairman Williamson.
Here.
5 present. We have a quorum.
We have Board Bill 229 on the agenda today. The sponsor will be held by Alderman Joseph Vaccaro. Alderman, you can go ahead and proceed with your presentation.
I would ask that we could put an amendment to the board bill in front of us. I'd like to make they have to make the motion, right?
He's trying.
I would make the motion? Then I would make a motion that
We'll make a motion to put amendment number 1 to Board Bill 229. I'd like to entertain a second.
Second.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Vice Chairman Boyd. Aye. Alderwoman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Zillow. This is place amendment before, the motion is place
Aye.
amendment. Alderman Arnowitz.
Aye.
Alderman Chairman Williamson.
Aye.
The amendment stands before you.
Okay. All right, Alderman, you can proceed with your Board Bill.
Okay, Dave, does everybody have the amended, okay, everybody has the amendment in front of them. The amendment changes, it changes page 2, line 12. It strikes out the word annually and inserts in lieu of upon passage of this ordinance. What the ordinance does, it's the same ordinance that is out there that's written, everything's the same. It gives the sheriff the discretion to do the 2% raise, up to a 2% raise for the sheriff's department. The money's in their budget. It was put in everybody's budget when we did the budgets. So every department has the money. It's not, this just triggers a way for the sheriff to be able to put the money out.
So the 2% raise, Alderman, is by merit. It's not really across the board for every sheriff. It'll be based on the merit in their
It's by
performance.
merit. In the pay bill, it even gives them the opportunity to decrease people's salary, but
Okay.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
And the amendment that we're dealing with today that you put on in amendment number 1 strikes out annually. So like you said, it's in lieu of,
Right.
if you read the words, upon passage of this ordinance. So, and I guess the sheriff and I guess they have their staff here too. If they can kind of explain it more where we're clear on it to make sure that that it will be just by merit and not across the board. In dealing with general revenue, we just want to
Sure.
be clear on that. So,
Sheriff, I guess Wendy, you want to come up? Well, no, it's just, they just want to make sure that this is by merit versus that just everybody across the board gets a raise. And it's by merit, but if anybody, Joe, you want to come up? Joe helped draft this. He's the attorney for the sheriff's department.
yes, sir.
Yes,
Could you
sir.
state your name?
My name's Joe Neal. I'm the Chief Deputy for Executions and also the attorney for the sheriff.
Okay, thank you.
And what we're trying to do, Alderman, is just get the same type of pay increase that every other department has. For whatever reason, it was inartfully drafted back in 2012, and it didn't allow for these increases. Quite frankly, it can be based on merit, but we left it with the discretion open so that the sheriff, if in his opinion if in his opinion decided to do across the board, we wanted the flexibility. And it would not cause any additional increase. The money is already there in the budget, and we would not get anything over the pay grade. So quite frankly, I'm not here to tell you that it's merit only. I'm not going to mislead this board, and it may be across the board. And again, even if it is across the board, it wouldn't result in any additional funding. It wouldn't result in any shuffling money from one part of the budget to the other because it's already been funded. And
So in other words, the money's in, you have the money to continue to do this.
Yes, sir.
But not each and every year. Is that,
not each and every year. What we propose to do is we understand that there may be some other bills going on this coming year, and all we want to do is get the same type of bill in place down the road that the other citywide offices have. Nothing better, nothing worse. We just want to be in sync with them. But we thought, in light of what's been going on and not being able to do this, we wanted to just get a short cap or short-term thing. And if for some reason nothing happens citywide this coming fiscal year, my guess is we would be in sync with them.
Okay. This is my last questions, and we'll take questions from the members. On the board bill, Alderman, on line 4, page 1, and it still has an increase annually containing of emergency clause, so we probably have to change that. I think I did talk to Dave about it.
Yeah, there's a scrivener's there, so we can just change that. It doesn't need to be part of it. But yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. And it's the body of the bill, and that would be legal, but still we'll change that to reflect what the body says. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Alderwoman Davis calling, and we appreciate that, so we can have that change. Okay, we'll go down the line and we'll see if any committee members have any questions. Vice Chairman Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Joe.
Morning.
Just have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
You say that the money is already in the budget, right?
That's my
So
understanding.
is there enough money in the budget for across the board if the sheriff decided he wanted to?
There is
Okay. And how many employees in the sheriff's office?
approximately 170, 175.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Davis.
No questions.
Alderman Billow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Joe. Joe, I'm not sure that the proposed amendment, which is before us upon passage of this ordinance, I guess my concern is that the ability to pay the 2% would be for perpetuity. This amendment is saying upon passage of this ordinance, and you're deleting the word annually.
That is correct.
Okay, so how does upon passage of this ordinance negate Sheriff Jennifer Florida in year 2068 from giving 2% without coming back to this committee?
Well, I assume that would be a son or daughter of the alderman.
I don't, I'm just,
How would it, I'm sorry, how would it prevent them?
yes.
I believe this ordinance is, in and of itself, is one time. That's my understanding, and.
But isn't there a clearer way of, and I interrupted you, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I've never been a legislator. I've never been hired by legislators to draft ordinances, so it is probably as inartfully drafted as the original bill, and we would welcome your help.
Yeah, well, and again, I've never been much of a legislator. I just, did Dave help me here? You seem to think that this, I don't know that we're accomplishing anything with the proposed amendment if in fact my intention or the committee's intention may or may not be to just limit it to the current fiscal year, which I think is what what Sheriff Murphy wants to accomplish.
We are amending ordinance 69190, which I have a copy of, which was the last pay bill. There is no end date on that. However, as I said earlier, when a new pay bill comes through, they will repeal this entire bill. In speaking with them, they're going to look at classifications, they're going to go through it and clean it up. But this just gives the sheriff's office the ability to do said raise as there. Now, if this ordinance that we're amending stays in effect for a while, that would stay with him. It's not a one and done, nor is any pay bill a one and done. It goes on until we end it, until repealed in its entirety. That's not just in the sheriff's office, that's with our civil service, that's with any county office.
Well, if I were to,
Not limited as well.
if I were to offer an ending date for the 2%, is that viewed as being, I don't want to be combative, vindictive, or punitive?
That would be,
I've known Sheriff Murphy for 3 or 4 months now. I'm trying to help here.
that would be changing it as different than all the other offices currently, because they have that flexibility. Mr. collector of revenue daily, license collector, recorder of deeds, those that have come before us, have written in, and I think rightfully so, some flexibility. So when changes occur before a new pay bill, they have some flexibility, and that's what this is giving them. Because
And the reason,
they've gone to the comptroller and the budget director, and that they clearly have the funds and they're willing to do it. However, the ordinance doesn't allow that, so this gives them that flexibility.
yet we're taking out annually because,
We're not taking, annually was never there in the initial bill. That was in our initial change.
it's in my bill.
You're right, but not from the initial, I'm using the wrong verbiage, the original ordinance. In that section, excuse me, in section 7,
I need to see that bill.
we didn't give any flexibility to the appointing authority of the sheriff. So the previous language just said that they could do that as far as adjustment period only once during the 26-week period, and it was more about range salary and adjustment. It had nothing to do with increases. Whereas the other bills that came across in 2012 gave that flexibility and gave that to the appointing authority. In this case, the sheriff, the other case is licensed collector of revenue.
So is it conceivable then, this being January 12th or 13th, that this particular verbiage is only going to apply to July 1 of 2015?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I have a,
based on other
Yeah.
pay bills coming. I'm sorry to cut you off.
yeah, that's okay, that happens to me all the time. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I have a great deal of mutual trust here, and though not completely comfortable with the amendment and the way I'm going to shut up, and I appreciate the time, and I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. We appreciate your questions. Okay, I'm recognize that the sponsor is willing to close on Board Bill 229.
I think it's should be, I would just close with asking for a do pass recommendation, because it just puts them in line with
And I
everybody
also
else.
like to put on the floor, we'd like to make a motion to pass Board Bill 229 subcommittee, committee sub.
Mr. Chairman, don't we have to adopt the amendment?
Oh, I'm sorry, and I apologize, I have honor,
We will be adopting that when we pass.
right.
Oh,
And Alderman Honor was, I forgot all about you. Did you have any questions, sir? I apologize. I overlooked you. I apologize about that. Okay, so I'll make a motion to go ahead and pass out Subcommittee Board Bill 229. Okay, previous row. You got a request for that? Okay, Board Bill
Thank you.
229 has been passed out. Thank you, Alderman. I think that concludes Public Safety Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Public employees.